With all the excitement surrounding Season 3 Reloaded, Treyarch have made a ridiculous amount of changes to Cold War Zombies with this update. In this video, we're going to be going over absolutely everything that's changing. We've got the specific details on every weapon balance change happening, including a nerf to the ray gun, changes to high rounds, rewards for completing Easter egg quests. This update potentially has the most patch notes of any update ever. So it's really important you watch this video all the way through to the end so you don't miss out on anything. And if you want to see all the new content coming with Season 3 Reloaded, I uploaded a video a few hours ago, which I'll link below or a card on screen now. Watch that at the end of this video. Kicking things off, let's talk about Easter egg rewards. Treyarch have now added a progression to where completing main quests will reward you with bonus Ethereum crystals equivalent to that of the last available exfil. Now, aside from being rewarded in-game with like all perks and stuff, there's never really been a reward that you get for completing an Easter egg besides an achievement. And whilst this isn't on the same level as like a new operator unlock or a super secret blueprint that converts to a wonder weapon or something, it's great that grinding Easter eggs is now going to reward us with crystals, which is sweet. Now, switching gears to drastic gameplay changes, Treyarch mentioned that they were going to be making high rounds harder. The maximum health caps for almost all enemy types have been raised to provide more challenge above round 40, so enemies will now take a lot more bullets to kill than they usually would before. So from round 40 onwards, the health of the zombies would stay exactly the same, but now this is not the case anymore. The strategies like the penthouse strat on Maschine with the ray gun might be a little bit trickier with this, but only time will tell with testing. Now, when it comes to the mystery box, additional weapons can now be attained from the box, which is every DLC weapon we've seen yet, apart from the weapons introduced in Season 3. And I think these will be staggered, so when we get another season, the previous season's weapons will be added to the box, so on and so forth. All those DLC weapons can now be obtainable from trial rewards, and they've removed the trial that required taking damage and healing. Not sure why, because it was quite an easy one to do, but nevertheless that's gone. A huge change has been made to the field upgrades. Well, now all field upgrades will activate faster instead of waiting on the wand animation, which is a fantastic thing. As in a tight pinch, that animation could have gotten you killed because it just didn't activate, so that's awesome. Two huge changes have been made to the support streaks you can craft at the buildable bench. The first is that the ammo capacity of the combat bow has been doubled, but who's really using that? And the big change to self-revives, where self-revive cost now increases by 50 high-grade salvage every time it is crafted. So before it would cost 250, I believe, to create a new one. From that point onwards, it will increase by 50. I think this is quite a fair change. It shouldn't make too much of a difference to high rounds, especially when you have so much salvage. But I think this is the fairest way of balancing that out. When it comes to Outbreak, they've tuned several of the zombie types so that they are a little easier to take out. Tempest has been tuned to reduce chest weak point health and mitigate damage. The Kranzi Soldat has been tuned so its jetpack requires less damage to destroy. Number of Tempest enemies spawning in the Duga region have been reduced. And with world events, they've increased the Fury Crystal event timer, which was a recently new added event, and at the moment it is quite punishing not being able to complete that in time, so I'm glad that they've added some extra time to that. And they've added the ability to ping the overhead map using the free cursor, which is amazing. There's been a few changes to the Onslaught mode, which is the exclusive PlayStation mode, where they've added standoff with intel, added crossroads back, and they've added a new mode called Onslaught Mystery Munitions. In this, you'll start with a random weapon, and with every surge, your weapon's replaced with another random weapon that scales up with the difficulty. You can access ammo mods and pack-a-punch upgrades to keep growing in power as the difficulty increases. This sounds really cool, and I really hope one day we see this transition over to the round-based maps or even Outbreak. That just sounds like a really cool, fun, almost like gun game style of zombies gameplay. If there's anything that zombies needs in these really dull periods where there's no content, it's just cool limited time modes, and I think something like this would be awesome instead of bringing back Cranked. But that's just my opinion. Now we move on to the biggest change that Treyarch are making in the entire update, which is a massive change to the zombies weapon tuning. They're increasing the power of most weapons through higher critical damage multipliers, which usually were at a 2.8 times, and now they're up to 4.5 times in some weapon classes to make killing zombies feel even more satisfying by rewarding players for skillful shooting, which means going for headshots is going to be even more important now than ever before. In difference between shooting the head towards shooting the chest is going to be so significant that you're gonna want to be running Deadshot Daiquiri if your headshotting aim is not great, because you're going to be wiping out the zombie so much quicker with this critical damage multiplier. But some weapons have had adjustments as well to their Pack-a-Punch versions with respect to magazine size, stock ammo, and damage. This is all in an effort to bring up the power levels of the Black Ops Cold War weapon arsenal in zombies to ensure every weapon is a viable option in round-based zombies maps, Outbreak and Onslaught, because Outbreak, you only run the Hauer. Treyarch don't like that. So now let's dive into every single weapon change, but we'll start with the most important ones that you guys want to know, which is the ray gun and then the shotgun. So the ray gun has actually had a nerf. Can we get some F's in the comments, ladies and gentlemen? It has been nerfed. So let's detail what's gone on here. It's not too bad, but it's still not great. The normal ray gun has had an ammo stock decrease from 80 to 60, which means when you get this thing, you're only going to have 3 full clips of ammo instead of 4. And I always thought 20 of 80 was probably the lowest I'd be happy to go with, but now it's going to have even less ammo. So it's going to be a weapon that you're going to have to treat with a bit more of a save for a rainy day moment than just using it all the time. But when it's Pack-a-Punched, its ammo capacity has been increased from 20 to 30, which is awesome. And it's had an increase in its stock ammo from 80 to 90. So it has less ammo when you get it out the box, but when it's Pack-a-Punched, you're going to have more ammo, which is awesome. But it's had a minimum radius damage decrease from 800 to 700, so it won't be as good at those far distances. Looking at shotguns now, it's a bit of a mixed bag. There's been some increases and some decreases. So the Hauer added a mid-range damage of 56 and it's increased its minimum damage from 42 to 48. But whilst it's gotten better, it's had its stock ammo decreased from 90 to 60, which is quite a big change. So pretty much in the same light as the ray gun nerf. When it's Pack-a-Punched, its mid-range damage has been added to 112, but it's have a decrease of ammo capacity from 12 to 10 and a stock ammo decrease from 96 to 60. Now that is a drastic change. So much less ammo from this thing. Before you had 8 full clips of ammo, but now you're only going to have 6, and that's quite a big change. Looking at the Gallo, it's had an increase in its max multi-shot based damage from 40 to 45, but when Pack-a-Punched, its ammo capacity has been decreased from 16 to 15 and its stock ammo from 112 to 75. That again is a huge decrease. Luckily, the Street Sweeper got nerfed. When it's Pack-a-Punched, it has a stock ammo increase from 120 to 180. Now let's dive into the assault rifles. All of these have had an increase in their critical damage multiplier from 2.8 to anywhere between 4.2 to 4.5. This goes for its normal version and its Pack-a-Punched version. So going on with the XM4, it's increased its critical damage multiplier to 4.4 and an increase in max damage from 62 to 67 when papped. The AK-47 has had that increase in damage multiplier to 4.2 and an increase in max damage from 78 to 85 when papped. Krig 6 has had an increase in its critical damage multiplier to 4.2, and when it papped, it's got a max damage increase from 70 to 71 and stock ammo from 420 to 480. So I think this is going to be a really good AR to use. QBZ has a critical damage multiplier increase to 4.2 and a max damage increase from 63 to 69 when papped, but the Fafar sounds amazing. It's been increased from 2.8 to 4.4 on the critical damage multiplier. It's had an increase in ammo capacity from 25 to 40 and a stock ammo increase from 250 to 280, and when it's papped, it has a max ammo capacity increase from 50 to 100, max damage increase from 53 to 59, and increase its stock ammo from 350 to 500. So this thing is going to be shooting so many more bullets and you've got a lot more of them to use. So very, very good weapon. Groza's critical damage multiplier is increased to 4.2, and when papped, its max damage is increased from 68 to 76 and ammo capacity from 60 to 64. And finally, the Farah 83 has had an increase from 2.8 to 4.5 on the critical damage multiplier, and when papped, its damage is increased from 62 to 72, increase in ammo capacity from 50 to 90, and a stock ammo increase from 450 to 500. Jumping into the SMGs, pretty much all of them have been increased in their critical damage multiplier from 2.8 to 3.8, but there are a few exceptions that I'll point out. So with the MP5, it's got an increase in its max damage from 62 69 to 73, but it's had a decrease in ammo capacity from 75 to 72 and stock ammo from 525 to 504. AK gets that critical damage multiplier increase as well as a max damage increase from 80 to 84. Milano gets that same critical damage multiplier, but when it's pack-a-punched, its damage increases from 88 to 93. Bullfrog gets the same critical damage multiplier increase, and when papped, its max damage increases from 72 to 76. Same for the KSP-45, and when pack-a-punched, its damage increases from 105 to 110. The MAC-10 sounds beastly. It's had a critical damage multiplier increase from 2.8 to 4, which is one of the highest out of all SMGs. When papped, its max damage is increased from 57 to 68, its ammo capacity increased from 60 to 80, and stock ammo increased from 420 to 480. So a really good SMG here. LC-10 gets that same critical damage increase, and when papped, its max damage is increased from 63 to 70, but the PPSH has the best SMG buff out of all of them. It's officially going to be the king of SMGs and zombies, like it should be. It's increased in a critical damage multiplier from 2.8 to 4.2, which is the highest out of all SMGs. Its max damage is increased from 59 to 66, its ammo capacity increased from 80 to 100, and stock ammo from 480 to 500. Like it should, this thing is going to be a beast. Jumping into tactical rifles, they've all had their critical damage multipliers increased from 2.5 to 4.2, and that's the only changes across the board to all of them, both normally and papped. Onto LMGs now, they've all had their critical damage multiplier increase from 2.5 to 4, which puts them up as nearly the highest along with some of those SMGs. I've missed LMGs being good in zombies. You know, World at War, you always wanted them, so that's fantastic. With the Stoner 63, when pack-a-punched, it gets a stock ammo increase from 360 to 440, but it's decreased in its ammo capacity from 120 to 110, and its max damage has decreased from 82 to 80. RPD upgraded has an increase in its max damage from 76 to 84, and the M60, an increase in its ammo capacity when upgraded from 90 to 150, a stock ammo increase from 300 to 360, but it's decreased in its max damage from 103 to 100. Now onto sniper rifles, and this is a really interesting one because some of them have had their critical damage multiplier increased and some haven't. New Swiss K31 snipers had an increase in max damage from 150 to 175 and an increase in minimum damage from 110 to 140, but a decrease in stock ammo from 48 to 42. When papped, its damage is increased from 300 to 350, its minimum damage increased from 210 to 280, stock ammo increased from 125 to 150. Now onto the M82, which is one of the worst sniper rifles I've used in any zombies game, let alone just Cold War. It's had an increase in damage multiplier from 4 to 5.5 and an increase in max damage from 110 to 150. When upgraded, it increases its max damage from 226 to 300 and a stock ammo increase from 100 to 120. The Pellington upgraded actually just gets a decrease in its stock ammo from 98 to 94. The L3 Tundra has a max damage decrease from 325 to 300, and when papped, has a decrease in its ammo capacity from 14 to 10 and stock ammo decrease from 98 to 70, so it's actually gotten a lot worse. The ZRG 20mm has also been nerfed when papped, with a decrease to stock ammo from 72 to 64. Onto pistols now, we've got the M1911, which has had a critical damage multiplier from 4 to 4.2, and if papped, has the same damage multiplier, but it's increased its stock ammo from 300 to 330. The Magnum only has a pack-a-punch nerf, where it's decreased its stock ammo from 288 to 264. The Amati pistols have an increase from 3.5 to 4.5 in their critical damage multiplier, and when papped, has a max damage increase from 66 to 73 and stock ammo from 330 to 420. We are so nearly done now, we just have launchers and specials. The Sigma 2 Pack-a-Punch has a stock ammo increase from 10 to 15, and the RPG also gets a stock ammo increase from 15 to 20, and the M79 has an increase in stock ammo from 45 to 90. And that is absolutely every single change coming to zombies with the Season 3 Reloaded update. That was a lot to go through. Let me know what you think of these changes in the comments below. Are there any which you aren't happy with, or you are? Have Treyarch done enough with these weapons to make them viable? Feel free to leave a like rating if you enjoyed, subscribe so you can catch everything Season 3 Reloaded once it drops on Thursday. And if you want to see everything that's coming with that update, it's on your screen now. Click that and I'll be with you in just a few moments.